actually like, I guess the secret behind it is this is like the project I feel like I would make. It's almost like a test run for like the even more like passionate projects, you know?
Oh, okay.
It's like, this is totally like my genre. It's in my wheelhouse. This is like what I would do, but it's also like I'm making it to like see how it does on the market and see if I can like make something that resonates with people. And like it's
and to keep
it's
going,
a big
right?
learning thing. Yeah, to just like what works, what doesn't, you know, and move forward.
So Brood Blood, right?
Uh-huh.
This is the lamb you're sending to slaughter to test the waters.
Yeah. Oh, there
wow.
we go. That works.
Wow. That's, oh, wow.
That's very meta. Very meta.
I love that. I love that in a way because it's like you're holding back bigger stories and you're like, I can't go out the gate with that. You're like, you already have the foresight to know that you can't come out swinging with your number one story. You're got to do something else just to kind of like test the waters, sharpen the blades, get the experience. I love that. I love that you have that foresight and you thought of that. That's awesome.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you. It's good to hear. It's also like this perfectionism thing that I'm like, I want to do this like masterpiece idea, but I feel like I'm not good enough yet. So let's do something else, you know?
So part of that is also restraint, right? Because a lot of people want to tell that story right away. The story that they want to tell, they want to get that out first. You know what I mean? So to have the restraint not to, whether it's because you're insecure or not in what the work is, that's great because you're not blowing that opportunity. You know, you're developing that story even more. And I think I've said this before in the past on previous shows, the longer you hold on to a story, the better it gets. You know, because you sit with it more, you live with it more, you think of more things, you make more discoveries along the way, and then you can put out a finer product in the end.
That's why I think it's great to I do write the big story, but with the intent of putting it in a drawer immediately after, so that like a year or two later I can come back to it as a better storyteller and go, wow, like 50 of these pages have to go. They make no sense.
No, that's great. Did you do that with Star Noir, Tony?
Oh yeah. There's a number of my stories that you'll see come out over the next few years. Like they've been in the drawer for a long time.
No kidding. That's great.
That's cool to hear.
Yeah.
Like I think I absolutely think that's true. Do you ever write something, sit on it, you know, for a long time like you have, and then you look back and you're like, I don't even remember writing that. Like it's just like it's a different person that wrote it, you know? Like you ever had that experience?
Yeah, for sure. There's just like a lot of cringy dialogue. Exposition is just like I'm just beating my reader over the head with so much information. Yeah, and you just learn by doing. You read more books on story structure, and then you figure out how to do it a lot cleaner.
Yeah, and I think sitting on it is really key. Like to rush into it. Like, I don't know how the monthly guys do it, like, you know, at Marvel and DC. I mean, it just must be seasoned, you know, but like, I need that like time to distance to look at it with fresh eyes again, you know?
Well, I think that's the other thing too, is that if you can put a story on paper and then put it in the drawer, then come back to it and still feel that same amount of creative passion towards it, still be jazzed about that story, and start working on it just like it was yesterday, even though it was like several months ago, that's the sign of a good story. You come back to it and you're like, I don't feel connected to this at all, then you know it wasn't meant to be. It's almost like a trial. It's like that's a litmus test of whether this was a good idea or not, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've got an idea on that as well. It's okay, cool. I just don't want to overlap anyone.
Javen says this looks really cool, so she looked at your artwork.
Sweet. Thank you. I really appreciate that. But so with that, like letting stories sit, because Brood Blood, you know, I actually created it, and it was almost like I could stand to throw it all away, you know, story, and that's kind of what it started as. But you know, I've been working the story for I don't know, probably 2 years, really.
Oh wow!
It's had several kind of phases. It's very different to what it is like now, right? And I feel like it's matured. But what I found out earlier on is it kind of started as this like dispassionate, almost like this is just to market, you know? But like as I developed it, like
you fell more in love with it.
Yeah, it's like I actually enjoyed it. I'm like, I want to go into that world. Like I want to participate with these characters. And then I started to feel that passion. And then I got to a point where like, oh darn it, like now I don't want to throw it away, you know? So what do I do with
it? That's when you have to kill your darlings. You know what I mean? That's why when you think about it, like, you know, oh, your stories are your babies. Mm-hmm. So when you're sending the lamb out to slaughter, you're killing a baby, right? So it's like
100%.
No way to avoid it then.
Yeah.
No, but I mean that's a good thing though. Like I said, like you know, you're at a point where you've got this ready for a campaign. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's great that you've teed it up. You found passionate. You've produced. I mean, anything made without passion is flavorless and shows in the work. But the fact that even that when you started, you're like, well, this wasn't, you know, this isn't my number one, but you were able to, you know, find it along the way. You made discoveries along the way, and look at you know how far you come now. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Dr.